And that's it. We're in. Good evening, good afternoon to Bored, who's in super keen already. He's obviously not bored. And this is great. Welcome back to another episode of the Deductionist podcast. My lords, my ladies, my gentlemen, and all canines from around the world. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Um, we've got a lovely treat for you this evening. We're bringing back a favourite for a chat about all things performance wise. We do a lot of things on the podcast, right? We do a lot of things on the podcast. We talk crime, we talk technique, we talk psychology, we talk science, we talk critical thinking. All of these are very serious, let's call them. Serious with one of them, because they're only as serious as we take them, right? They are serious topics. They can be a bit dry, informationally speaking, in moments. So we like to break that up. You guys know that I have a background as a performer, as a mentalist, and we've spoken about the nature of applying these types of critical thinking aspects towards performative puzzles and performative problems to solve. And we've got one of the best to ever do it with us tonight. He's back for third time's a charm to talk about some of the new things that he's up to. Before we get to that, I would be remiss if I did not mention that Omniscient Insights has its free webinar. It's free. Not a sales pitch, it's just free. If you want to take the webinar, take it. If you don't, you'll be without the skills of productive communication. So that's up to you. It's free. You go to omniscientinsights.com, or I'll put the link in the description below when this goes out. Free training from me to you with my good friends Bob Pointer and Jim Wenzel. Bob Pointer of the Behavioral Intelligence Academy, ex-Scotland Yard with over 40 years experience. And Jim Wenzel has held pretty much every security position that there is to hold. Pretty much, there's a slight bit of hyperbole there, but he's currently out on his executive protection duties at the minute. And so that's coming to you guys as of Monday. You can get on board with that. I'll give you some good stuff with this. Now, it's time for the man, the myth, the legend that is Mick Wilson. Oh, I should have queued up the sound effects for it. I think I've got something along those lines. I'll find it. Where is it?
Don't oversell it,
Ben. I'm not overselling it, right? The thing is with me in this kind of stuff, sir, is that it is a different angle on the same kind of thinking, a different angle on the same kind of problem solving in that way. So, my good lord, sir, for those people who haven't seen the previous episodes that you were on, for shame, may you stub your toe on the nearest coffee table until you see it. I'm wishing that on a lot of people today, I found as well. Maybe if we could just start with a little bit about your background and what you're into. Let people know about who you are and what it is that you do, first of all.
So, Geordie born and bred, grew up in Wallsend, fell in love with magic at the age of 10 after seeing Paul Daniels for the first time in 1979 on his premiere show. It's been coursing through my veins since, being a joiner, a DJ, you name it. But I'm not a DJ who became a magician. I'm a magician who became a DJ.
Important distinction.
Extremely big distinction. Those magicians out there will know what I'm talking about. I've got two wonderful kids who are now, well, I say kids, they're about to turn 30 and 26. Sadly, became a widow for nearly 5 years ago. We lost Teresa, but we're all three were ploughing on to make her proud, every day. That's what we do. I've been through the mill, but I've had some great friends like yourself there to help us get through all of them dark, hard times and things that we've learned through the likes of this kind of your courses and various things. And my kids are just great. So I'm now on the outside of a bad place looking like I want to start lecturing everything. I want to give back to the magic world so much.
Love it, mate.
In short, I'm very good at curing insomnia. I talk that much.
Well, first of all, mate, I appreciate your candor, your honesty. You know, there's a good number of people out there that feel a bit of stigma talking about that kind of stuff. So, you know, I appreciate you for doing so and kind of addressing that indirectly a little bit in that.
Oh yeah,
Now,
yeah,
now, for those of you that aren't in the know, there is a company in the UK, alakazam.co.uk, um, who are arguably the biggest dealership in the country, up there within the big boys of the world as well. And they run their own. It's called an academy, is it? Alakazam Academy.
yeah, yeah.
And so, what is that essentially? Is it like a series of these master classes that people see, or what is it?
It's basically they've tried a bit of everything where they've done like a dealer dem type thing with regards to not just promoting the product, but like looking at the philosophy behind the company. For example, I did a cold reading course. The how can I put it? It's like talks and lectures in simple terms, just
Gotcha.
talks and lectures. You know, there are masterclass type ones. John Carey, for example, one of the biggest courses he did, a course called Zero to Hero with cards, and it's like a visual card college,
Wow.
you know, and John is very adept at teaching
Yeah.
things, and John's always been adept at stripping things back. So even things that were made difficult or seemed difficult in the book, he was very good at bringing that to the ease. But literally, you can it's a visual card college, and you know it sold so well, you know. But it's great. So master classes, talks, lectures.
But yeah, so this is a resource for people to learn kind of alternative performative adaptations of problems, of puzzles, of riddles that I would call them. But some people
Yeah.
call it magic, some people call it effects, some people call it routines. It's all kind of different versions of the same thing, and that's kind of why you've been brought to the table, because you, pun very much intended, you have a kind of signature way of looking at things, right? So
Oh yeah.
that's something that I'd like to talk about. You know, we've got the kind of delivery of your, if you'll forgive me for saying, fairly light-hearted nature and self-deprecating standpoint, which is something that you don't very often get in a performer anyway. There is a healthy dose of, oh, look at me, aren't I swell, that goes along that, and that's one of the things I appreciate about watching you work. But let's cut to the quick in terms of what my guys are here for, right? It is looking at problems and effects in a different way. Whereas, you know, a problem for something is, how do I solve this? How do I solve this case? How do I figure this out? Whatever it is, for magicians, for mentalists, for cold
Mhm.
readers, for this type of thing, you could phrase them very much like that. Of how do I convince a person that I can read their mind? How do I convince a person to tell me things that they wouldn't normally? You know, this type of thing. So tell me a little bit about how you approach, you know, the performance of effects and how you think about creating different things around that way.
Well, before we even get to the effects, let's, you know, go back to the very beginning. You know, you've got an arsenal of effects there, and you're going to go up to a table, for example. You know, a lot of the stuff, there's a lot of table hoppers out there. And you're invading somebody's space, ultimately. You know, yes, you're granted you're paid to be there, but you've got to get over that. And sometimes we'll get a hard time, and it's getting, how do I get there? Look, when you meet somebody, first impressions, you only get one chance. And with what's is it they say, you know better? It's people decide in the first 5 seconds whether they like you or not.
Absolutely, mate.
So the best way I can give an example of that is how I solved going to a table before we even get onto the effect,
Nice.
because that's as important as the effects themselves. Because if they don't like and trust me before I
Mm,
start, then I'm got an uphill battle, but before I've even got to the effects. So what I developed, and I shouldn't really give this away, but me and a good friend of mine spent 4 hours. And what came out of this 4 hour session was, I go up to a table and I turn to somebody, I hand them a deck of cards, this person. I say, can you do us a favour, shuffle the spots off them? And they do. And then I'll turn to the rest of the audience and say, oh, by the way, my name's Mick. I'm here, or been invited here by Carol and Bob to do some entertainment, so I'm only going to take up 6-7 minutes of your time. And one of two things is going to happen this evening. You're either going to be completely amazed and have your mind blown, or we'll find out just exactly how well you handle disappointment. How you getting on with them cards there, sir?
I
And
like
then
it.
and then once they sort of like they do that, they'll say, I'm finished. I'll say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. It's Bob. And and I sort of like pour it onto him.
Yeah,
And then if I can, without forcing it, if I can, I'll actually steal that person's chair
brilliant.
and put them on the spot. But then the first effect I'm going to do, regardless of what it is, and there's an awesome, is I'm going to make them look like the star.
Yeah,
So
love it.
it's well, that's it. And what the way if we were to break that down, is I'm not a fan of saying I'm a magician,
Mm.
because I've found there are a lot of what I call the excrement eating grin type performers out there who are, hey, it's me, I'm
Yeah,
quite good.
very nicely put, sir.
And I want to avoid that. So I don't want to give you an opportunity to start making an opinion.
Yeah.
And that sounds a bit selfish, but if I go, hi, how you all doing? What's your name? John. John, do me a favor, shuffle the spots off them. There's a fair possibility they know I'm a magician by now.
Mm. Mm.
If not, don't worry,
Mm.
because the opening line is, good evening, everybody, how are you doing? I've been invited here by Bob and Carol, or whoever's do it is, to do some entertainment here tonight. Now, that means I'm not going to take up much of your time, 5-6 minutes. So the reason for that is I'm light-hearted, I'm introducing myself,
Mm.
I'm trying to be sincere, and I've give somebody else something to do.
Mm.
So I'm involving them from the word go. But then I use the phrase 5 or 6 minutes. So those who really don't care know it's not going to be long.
Nice.
And those who do really love it know they've got to sit up and pay attention, because it's going to go by really quickly.
Nice.
So it's only going to be 5-6 minutes. I say
Nice.
6-7 when I've done that, but like if it's a table of 6, I'll say 5-6 minutes,
Yeah.
because I'm only going to do the same 3 effects, 2-3 effects.
Yeah.
But then again, because of interaction, I'm not going to insist that I do all of me tricks.
Gotcha.
It depends how the table react to me. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the first part, which we deliberately did, was stating how long it's going to be. So those who don't really care for it know it's not going to be long. And those who really are, oh, I love magic, think, oh, well, I've got to sit up and pay attention. And then it's a case of let them say, well, you're going to be amazed,
Yeah.
because they kind of established that it's magic-ish, but I
Yeah.
haven't said what. So I'm still saying amazed. And at that point, they're going, wow, what's he going to do? And then, as you mentioned before, the self-deprecation, I love that moment of going, or we'll find out just exactly how well you all handle disappointment. And I always tell that, because that now gives me an opportunity to look each and every person in the eye. So
Mm.
it's deliberately designed that way, so I can engage with each and every person. Because if you listen to the beats
Mm.
of that sentence, which we've deliberately structured that way, is, or everybody pays attention. It's, you're into like an
Yeah.
applause
Yeah.
cue,
Yeah.
applause, but we're doing something else.
Attention.
Attention, and but not look at me. It's just, or
No, I know. It's yeah.
will find out just how well you all handle disappointment. Now, I'll always deliberately finish on this person on my right,
Yeah. Right.
because then it gives us a nice sweep as I go, so how you doing? Which is a nice visual.
Yeah.
You so how you doing?
Yeah.
And they're finished, and I say, right, so here we go. Let's see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, your entertainment for the night, John. Stand up, John, because I need him to stand up anyway.
Yeah.
And because I'm going to try and pinch the chair, that's the sole reason I would deliberately pick a man.
Yeah.
If I get to a table and it's all women, I'm going to get the woman to stand up, but I'm not going to try and pinch her chair. you know. But either way, I am going to do an effect which will make her and somebody else look like a megastar. So
Amazing.
the light is completely off me as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I want to get the message across that I am the entertainment, but I'm the vehicle to make it move forward. I'm just the engine to make the entertainment. And
Gotcha.
then, so that was the best thing I ever did was figuring that bit out, because once you get to that person and you go, ladies and gentlemen, Bob, give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
Nobody's even applauding me now.
Yeah.
And then when he nails it or she nails it, I'm still not the star of the show.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. You know,
You know,
the table hopping magician, for my opinion, the table hopping magician is very much the unsung hero of social engineering, because like within that seemingly short innocuous interaction, there's three of the six Cialdini principles of influence: the scarcity of it only being between 6 to 7 minutes, the liking of the self-deprecation humor, all this type of thing, and the reciprocity of action of giving people cards to shuffle and shuffle the spots off. And it's just it's beautiful. It's great. We've had a question come in terms of a
mm-hmm.
connection to that from Board. I think this relates to a problem I have, and I believe other beginners in mentalism as well. That is, and that's how to get over shyness. How to get over shyness.
To get over shine, right? Okay, well, first and foremost, from a personal point of view, I found it easier to talk to complete strangers than I did to stand up and perform for a room full of family.
Mm,
I still to this day find it a little bit more nerve-wracking to perform to a room full of family than I do strangers.
mm,
But in my mind's eye, um, it first stuck with me. I learned it later because of The Mask, the film, right?
mm.
And that part where he goes to the doctor and the doctor tells him all about we're all metaphorically wear masks,
Yeah.
etc. But in my mind's eye, when I was out doing Halloweens when my kids were younger, I found it very easy to play the fool because
Mm.
nobody could see my face.
Gotcha.
Nobody can see your face, so you do find it very easy to do things when you're wearing a mask of some
Mm,
description. Because
mm.
even if it doesn't work very well and it's embarrassing, nobody can see your face for you to get embarrassed, you know.
Yeah.
But I find that I especially had a very, my guard went down the minute I had a mask on.
Gotcha.
So what I try to do in my mind is, look, there is a character, which is Mick the magician, who is essentially me, but slightly exaggerated. And I'm not shy because I'm there for them and not me. It's don't be shy because I want you to come out to me. If I want you to be very interactive with me, then I've got to be interactive with you. I've got to go up to you and go, hi, what's your name? Now that seems very in your face,
Yeah. Very
but as
confrontational.
what it does, but you've got to find, and that's where, and this is the thing that you see in all the books.
Mm,
It comes back to this: be yourself, which it is, you know. But go to your if you want to overcome shyness, go. You've got to kind of sort of like analyze yourself, or ask your family or your friends, or notice how you interact with your friends. If you walk into a bar or a room where you didn't know one of your friends was going to be, and you see them, think about the feelings you have which make you feel that that's fine
mm.
to go to them kinds of, there's a certain set of limits depending on who you're meeting,
Yeah.
like with regards to senses of humor and stuff like that. And it's getting over shyness to me is saying, hello, what can I do for you? That's my mental state when it's like, I'm here to entertain you. How can I do that?
Mm,
I'm not the proverbial salesman.
mm.
Not there to invade your space as such. I'm like, I've come here. but I appreciate you'll want something in return.
Oh
What
yeah.
can I do for you?
Mm,
I'm telling you, I'm going to do something, but what can I do for you?
mm, mm,
And the shyness itself is a time thing,
mm.
and you will learn it. As I can't remember the name of the guy, Jeff Green, I think it was, did a DVD called "In the Field." But you get out and do it.
Mm,
Just get out and do it, and push yourself to be a little bit more open with people. Go up to people and say, "Hi, how you doing? What's your name?
mm.
Hi, what's your name? Hi, I'm John. What's your name?" And another way to try this, and this is from James Brown, the pickpocket guy,
Professional
and
opportunities he's been on.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. James has probably tell you this himself. He's seen people on the streets doing the flyers rather than going, "Would you like one? Would you like one?" People would come and go. He would say, "This one's for you. This one's got your name on it. Oh, by the way, this is yours. This is yours. This is yours." He wasn't asking them if he wanted it.
Mm,
He would just say, "Oh, I think this is yours. This is yours." They and it was done in such a way that 9 times out of 10 they would grab it because it wasn't totally invasive. But if they looked and went, "Well, it's not," they walked away and nobody was offended. So it's finding that balance of, "Hi, I'm John. How are you? How's your day today?" So the shyness, it's as much as get to know them
yeah.
as if you want, and if you genuinely are there as a performer, and this is the crux of my whole thing is, I believe when I do magic, I believe it's magic,
Mm,
and so therefore I want to make sure that they believe with me too. And I'm like, I just can I show you this? I just really want to show you this.
mm.
And that's kind of like what's coming out of us all the time. I
Love it.
hope that answers the question in a roundabout way.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, no, definitely. We got Dave Levine over on. He's watching on Facebook and on YouTube. That guy's committed. Love it. Welcome, Dave. Um, just for board as well. Look at the details concerning the spotlight effect. And if you want something fun to practice, I'm not connected with these guys at all. I just think they're fun. I found these from a place called Escaping Ordinary. They have a wonderful YouTube channel to teach people about psychological tactics and techniques and this type of thing, and they detail all manner. I don't know if the Zoom's going to pick it up. They detail all manner of psychological phenomena and biases, and it is their it is their cognitive biases deck.
that
It's a
that
cool,
is such a cool idea.
it's a cracking little thing. It's a cracking little thing.
Yeah.
Now let's get into the crux of it, mate. So when you when you have an idea for a routine, when I have an
Hmm.
idea for a routine, then I want to go. It's not something that I can shake until I've fleshed it out, until I've
Hmm.
tried to figure out how it works and how it plays with. So when you have an idea for either a thing that you want to solve within the dynamics of a routine, or a version of something else that you've seen so far, what is it that you're kind of thinking about? What's the Mick Wilson magic that you're pouring over it that makes it stand out as something unique?
I think it's the criteria that we all sort of like set ourselves, and I've never really wrote my criteria down. And the main criteria is what some people would call anti-tada, where it's like take the heat away from me. Um, it's got to feel natural or organic, but it things have got to have like a natural flow.
Mm,
I don't want you to give you the opportunity to ask the unasked questions. And a
mm,
quick example being, guy disappears a lady from the top of a table, but the table has a cloth around it. The unasked question is or the unanswered, unspoken statement is she's behind the cloth. Then he takes the cloth away and she has vanished. So I've got to try and achieve that. That's one of my criteria, is to
mm,
make sure I can set up that kind of thing, but then answer it in a
mm,
natural way. That's a criteria. Be as much about focus on the spectator as possible. So it's not about me. It's as much about them and their choices, their actions. So that's another criteria. I put the spotlight on them. So what have I said? Spotlight on them. deal with the unanswered questions or the unspoken questions. And then basically just giving them, and I cannot put this into words. I'm going to have to sit and put some thought into this because I've never ever done it before.
You in it? I
And
apologize.
No, it's about time I did though. Now you're thinking it, because the only thing I can say is it's about giving them that experience. You know, when you get training for a job where you're in sales or in a shop and they go, we want to give the customers a good shopping experience.
Yeah.
Well, what's bloody good shopping experience? What do you mean by that? Well, I've just got to be nice to them and make sure that everything goes as smoothly for them as possible.
Yeah.
I don't want there to be any moments of conflict. And the simplest way I can put it is, if between me and the effect, if we're entertaining enough, whether it's lightheartedness, seriousness, or engagement, then you won't care how this effect is done. You'll go with the flow.
It's true.
And it's having the again, it goes back to confidence, but knowing my script, that's not part of the structure, but because I've created and I know the script, then I can let it all roll together. And I can give you a great recent example of how I put something together and answer the problem. Now, you're going to get a freebie out of us here, folks. There's plenty of effects out there, and Aldo Colombini was great for doing 2 deck effects. But there's sometimes you have an effect where the red deck is going to be the revelation deck. Maybe it's because it's got something written on the back, right? So we'll say the red deck is the revelation deck. And the blue deck is what I want you to work with. And for many, many, many millennia, we're going to say, magicians would go up and say, I've got a couple of decks of cards, which one? And they go, red. And you go, okay then. And you come up with, you equivoke it out very casually. And I was like, yep, I did that myself. But then you come to a point in the effect where you do a bit of a recap. And then we'll lie through, we'll back to you and say, now you could have chose any deck. Now, one of my criteria was, I don't want to create a moment of jarring. Not many people will pull you up on that. Not many.
Yeah.
But somebody could. And I don't want that somebody could. I want a shot of all of that. So the best way around that is if I give you absolute ownership of your action and your deck, then you can't question it at any point during the routine. You can't, because I said, whatever you choose, it is yours. From the word go. Now, I learned a lesson, and this is a combination, this part here is a combination of things I learned from Michael Murray and an effect that I've seen by Steve Cook. Now, I'm not going into detail, but Steve Cook had a lovely effect where the spectator made a genuine free choice from 2 piles of cards, and whatever choice they made, an action was done, and the other pile was shown that the result would have been different had they done that. Now, the fact that something different would happen if they picked the other pile, Steve would then still use the opposite pile to then prove that action too. And I was like, this is just equivoke genius, this. So I thought, how can we do that with the choice of a simple 2 decks of cards? And I will demonstrate for you, and then we can break it down. So Ben, I have 2 decks of cards.
Okay.
The target is the red one. I want the target out of play to do a reveal. So Ben, we've got 2 decks of cards. I've got a red and a blue. You're going to pick one in a minute. Whichever one you pick, it's yours. No funny business. It's yours. Would you like red or blue?
Blue.
You sure?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, that's yours and the red's mine. So put your blue one in your back pocket for now. I don't want anybody touching it. And then I'll let you do the work with the red deck. It's mine, but I want you to do the work, okay? Pick up the cards and shuffle, and so on, off we go. So conversely, you own a deck, which is now in your back pocket. Conversely, though, Ben, would you like red or blue?
Red.
So you go for red. You go up, free choice.
Yeah, yeah,
Right, cool. Right, before we go any further, do me a favor. The blue one's now mine. Put that in your back pocket so nobody can touch it. I've now got. Sorry, I made the blue the target deck there. Sorry, my apologies, a confusion there. I made the blue the target deck, but I've now got that target deck in your pocket, and
yeah.
no matter which one you choose, the one you named is
It
still yours.
still feels like yours. Yours is the key. I like that. I like that a lot, and
And
it's so many things that people really don't tend to think about. The nuances that make a something insignificant be whatever the opposite of insignificant would be. You know.
yeah, well, what I learned from Steve with his effect was don't equivoke the choice, don't force a choice, just have a good reaction no matter what.
Nice.
Now, this is essentially a one-step equivoke. You know, when there's talk about multiple equivokes, they're going to get you to change the action every time. And the more you equivoke, the more
Yeah,
monotonous and thingy
yeah.
it becomes. So if you're doing a 2 or a 3, you're going to change that action. But the thing is, though, what I noticed what Steve was doing is he totally focused on the action.
Mm,
It's the action that changes, nothing else.
yeah.
But the beauty of doing it that way is when I get to halfway through, and this is where it really seals the effect for me, or the freedom of choice, which helps the method. You chose red, and I said, right, that means the blue is mine. Put it in your back pocket. Make sure, and nobody touches it.
Mm,
Right. So we've done X, Y, Z. Now, before we go any further, Ben, you had a completely free choice of cards.
mm-hmm.
You chose red. Had you chose blue, where would that red deck now be? In your pocket, because the one you didn't choose went in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
So now your answer, you're telling, you are telling the lie out loud to yourself. And I can't remember where I read it, but the minute a spectator tells the lie themselves, then they cannot solve the problem.
Love it. Love it. That's great. It reminds me a little bit of like and again, I'm not going to talk about the method much like yourself, but you'll be aware of Fraser Parker um,
Mm-hmm.
when he gets people to change their religion by or seemingly change their religion by touching their forehead. It's the bit afterwards where they are telling themselves the lie because he's thought about the build up in that way, and
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
chefs. I should get Fraser on to talk about that. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Um, but mates, that's bloody great. That is. I love that. And that's these are the moments that set you and a few others apart as you know the people that are listened to in this field. You know the game changers, and it's not a connection towards ego or anything like that. Because I know from speaking to you outside of this, you don't have one, right?
No, no.
You don't have one, but it's these people that think about things in such a way to take care of every moment as opposed to just glazing over the little ones. It's that
Yes.
classic action of you know the short action sorry the little action being covered by the big one in
Mm-hmm.
that way. Taking care of the little action in the proper way means there doesn't have to be as much cover is a weird way that I would kind of paraphrase that in my head. So people now know a little bit more about how to approach seemingly unsolvable problems. That's what magic, mentalism, performance of that kind of nature is. If you told somebody, go on,
Could I just add a little bit more to that because there is
please
so
do.
much more to the whole
Uh,
thing as well.
can you add more? No,
Because
stop talking. Keep going.
the 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 what you call it now, you've done that. Look at what we've achieved with the language,
Mm,
right? And how we're not going to reframe, we're going to tell the truth.
yeah,
We're going to lie a little bit, but they're going to assume. I'll only ask a question for
yeah,
they then tell a false lie. But during these things, when I get to the reframe or during the setup, I can then say, right, so I've got two decks. In a moment, you're going to pick one. Whichever one you pick, it will be yours. Choose away. Now, if I'm going to be doing misdirection at any point, I'm doing none here, and
Mm,
yet I am doing tension and relaxation
mm,
actions, and I'm already conditioning you for
mm,
tension and relaxation without it making any difference whatsoever.
mm,
It's not essential, but it is setting up moments of tension and
mm,
relaxation, is just as important at every point of the trick. Every word you say, every action you do should matter. Unless it's a rebound off what they say, then then that's where your ad libbing comes in. But I learned it from Ken Webber's Maximum Entertainment. When we talk, we should either be given an instruction
mm.
or directing them in some way, or making them laugh, or just wanting them to be engaged. Anything outside of that, at best, should be a reaction to somebody else.
Yeah,
Other than that, we shouldn't be talking. Every word matters,
yeah. I love that.
But you can use the
Every word matters.
situation.
Go on, use the situation. Yeah, yeah.
You use the situation to do the other parts of your act that are necessary to do on. But also, you talk about shyness.
Mm,
Now, if you're a little bit shy, why don't we play on that? Let's what we call paint it red.
mm,
You go up and you go, a bit of confidence, you introduce yourself. Now you turn around, you've got a moment of tension when you come in. You can sort of lean in and go, be honest, I'm not the most confident of people. So don't shout at us, otherwise I will cry and I'll go home and I'll take me ball. So use it to paint it red, get a comedy moment out. Use
yeah.
it to make them like you even further. If you paint it red and you're honest about it, but then use the same time to bring them on side. Bring them on
Mm,
side. Use that weakness to make a strength.
mm,
And even if you're doing it just as a speech point of view, there's no actions going on.
mm,
You're also still setting up moments of tension and relaxation. Now, when I lean in and do a comedy line, or I'm trying to, as my suggestion just now of be careful with this, handle with care. I'm quite shy, believe it or not. And I say, believe it or not, and I relax because I want them to go, all right, okay, because
yeah,
they'll mirror you.
yeah.
So, everything, there's so much more going on than just some great bit of language that I've just said about making them pick a deck of cards.
I love that. And every word should count. It's I like
Absolutely.
I've adopted a similar mantra in the terms of my work, which is everything is relevant until it's not. That's the one of the prime focuses for good deductive work, good investigative work, which is cool.
Uh,
Um,
very well, very eloquently put, sir. Very eloquently.
we are a pair, good sir. We are a pair. Now we've um we've kind of beaten around the bush for long enough, I feel. Tell me, and by extension, everyone that's listening, about this academy. Would you call it a lecture? Would you call it a talk? Would you call it a masterclass? Tell me a little bit about that that's coming up.
It's 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 an academy, it's a lecture is a posh word, but for me, every lecture is a chat with people, friends.
Yeah.
I always frame it as friends, people, even if I've never met them, I go to a magic circle or a lecture. To me, the millions of people at the other side of that camera are,
Mm.
and this is going to sound so crass, they are friends I've not yet met, you know,
That's a
but
lovely way of looking at
they are people who are, look, I've got these ideas, I'm going to throw them at you, and they're either going to stick or they're going to fall on the floor. All I can tell you is they do work really, really well for me,
it.
but take them and rip the flesh off them and reshape it to your bones, and
Mm.
they do work, and it's this particular academy classes, I shouldn't say this out loud, is it's really theory disguised as tricks. It is, because as you know, everything that I'm doing is about them bits of business.
Yeah.
That card force,
Mm,
that deck force of choice equivoke.
mm.
That's There's so many parts to that than that just that trick. The trick that I now do with that, I actually designed just to demonstrate that deck force.
Nice.
I literally made a trick to demonstrate that deck force.
Nice.
And
Nice.
the trick took on a life of its own. And up until recently, I discovered there's the greatest piece of magic in this effect that happens completely free of charge but with no effort.
Oh, that's quite the discovery.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, hang on a minute. This is a thought of card across, and that was never my intention. My intention was a comedy routine, you know. It's but can I just very quickly jump back to this will back up what I talk about the lecture being for
Yeah,
friends
do it. Do it. Yeah, do it.
because
Oh, yeah.
excuse me momentarily.
No, you got to. We need like
Basically,
elevator
no.
music.
What I do is I come out with a cheesy grin. I come out. I go, "Good evening, thanks very much for everybody coming along. I've studied with some of the greats in the world. I'm going to get down with some straightforward, hard hitting, brilliant, completely foolproof, not quite self-working mentalism. Ben, I want you to do absolutely nothing just now. So straight away, I'm trying to be relaxed and I'm getting that cheesiness to it where it's like, is this guy for real or what is he? And it's like, don't do anything. And I take out the card and I go, ta-da! Like I'm full of confidence and I go, and this is important because I want you to get that. Is this guy a pillock or what? And I go, ta-da! There's a card. Ben, card on the table. Think of a card, just not the Joker. Don't say it out loud, just think of it. I turn to somebody else, I get a piece of paper and a pen and I give it that. Fold it up, put it down, say, think of a number from 1 to 10. I go back to you, I say, Ben, what was the card you were thinking of? Please
Six of clubs.
tear it up. Completely wrong. That's embarrassing. Okay, pressure's on you now, sir. You're thinking of a number from 1 to 10. Feel free to fake it, just in case, otherwise the lecture's going to finish really quickly. What was the number, sir? 9. Not 5, then? No, not 5. Right, okay, then. Since that didn't work, would you mind if we just got straight in with the new material? We'll do the new material. Let's have a volunteer up and they come up and I say, can I try some new material on you? And they go, yes. And then this comes out and I go, there you go. Got some new material here. Would you like the checks? We've got a nice plain grey. We've even got no. Sorry, let me take that away. That's blue material. It's a family show. We're not going to do blue material tonight. And that through that big bizarre kind of like, what is this guy?
Yeah,
Then it completely dies on its arse.
yeah,
But then I immediately bring them up and then I hit them with this.
yeah,
That gives you a sense of what's going on where. And
yeah,
that's again like figuring out the speech.
yeah.
The intro, I'm achieving it on a grander scale.
Hmm.
Making you think, what am I? Well, he's not too serious. He's got a bit of confidence there, he's really going for it, yeah. Oh dear, it seems to have gone wrong. But he's got that kind of, it's like he knew it. He knew it was going to go wrong. And I can see a bit of comedy, and then this comes out. And huge thanks to Mr. Gary Jones for the blue one. He says, get a piece of blue material and put it in slot 3. He says, remember your magic things is in beats of 3. Did it, did it, did it. He says, you
Yeah,
might as well make the last one a hard hit and say you don't do blue material because it's a family show. And it ends the gag nicely. It
love it.
really ends the gag quite nicely.
Love it. That reminds me of the Darren Brown. I think it was Enigma. I'm not 100% sure. I'd need to be kind of fact checked on that when he's doing
Mm-hmm,
the word disassociation, and the
mm-hmm.
word is McFly, and he got it wrong, and he was like everyone's going yeah. it was like, well, thank you very much. First trick of the night, and it fucked up. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And it was just
Yeah.
that great kind of drop. There was a Jay Sankey. The first time I ever saw him perform, it stuck with me since then. Because I'd obviously heard that he's this comedian, creative genius, but this was like I'd been in magic. I don't know, maybe 2 months at the time. So I'm a newbie. And he
Hmm.
comes out. I'm sat in the front row. He asks me if I've got a deck of cards. Of course, I've got a deck of cards. He borrows the deck, spreads them out, and goes, take one, put it back, shuffles, does this fancy shuffle, then pulls out the top card and turns it. Goes, was this your card? I go, no. He goes, you're wrong. Puts them back together, gives them back to me. They're all your cards. Anyway, moving on.
You
I
know.
love it. It was great. It was a great little tension moment of let's just shatter that.
Mhm.
Everyone knows what we're up to, and everyone's involved. Everyone's involved. That kind of basic
And
expectation of, yeah, go on, very quickly.
very quickly, the information that is totally wrong there, will comes to fruition at the end of the night. It is so relevant that this goes completely wrong.
Love it. Love it. That that is the key, right? In those moments, this is why I say that the magician, the mentalist, or whatever it is, they are one of the unsung heroes of social engineering because you want them to dip slightly in order so that reveal later will be like, what? Mind all over the mind all over the ground. Dave's got a fun way of thinking about it. It's not tripping, but falling with style. Did you see Liam's comment I put on
Correct.
for us as well? Did you see that? I'll put it on
Yeah.
again. Smoothie,
Good to see
smoothie.
you, Liam. Not seen Liam for a while.
Well, he's busy kind of taking over Ireland with his business. That made it
Good.
sound really dodgy. It's all above board. It's all above board, I swear. So how can people find this academy? When is it happening? Where should people go? Tell me a little bit about that.
So, in a nutshell, they can go to alakazam.co.uk and just search for Mick Wilson. Or they can look me up on social media if they'd like to ask any questions to expand on this. I'm always happy to talk to people, privately, whatever. And I've promoted the heck out of it on my wall as well. Send us a friend request. I just generally judge by, if people send me friend requests and you're on it,
Yeah,
then I'm going to go, oh, this will be from the item. So yeah, just on my social media or go to alexam.co.uk and search for Mick Wilson.
amazing. Now, there's one little thing I want to ask you, just because I've seen the blurb, and there
Mhm.
is there is something that's been billed as the pièce de résistance for me.
Mm,
I don't want to know
mhm,
anything about it because I want to keep it as the pièce de résistance, but maybe a couple of adjectives, maybe a couple of like something, some kind of theatrical moment to describe what it is that people can look
mm.
forward to.
The most important word is tribute and wife.
Amazing, amazing.
They're the two
That's
most important. But all I'll say is it's the single most impossible 8 card number matchup you will see with a electronic device that has no technological apps built in at all.
and you can make the deduction induction that I'm biased being on the podcast. I know what he's on about. There's not a single syllable of that that's hyperbole at all.
I
So
demmed it to you, didn't I?
that's what I mean. That's why I'm saying that there's not a single syllable of that that's out of place. There's not a single syllable of that I wouldn't disagree with. So, guys, well, first of all, mate, thank you for coming by and joining us and sharing your wisdom. I can only speak for myself because there's nobody else here. And speaking for myself, that I can't wait until next time. I know it'll be a treasure trove full of golden nuggets. So, Mick, mate, thank you again, and to you
Thank you for
guys.
having me.
It's a genuine pleasure, good sir. It's always a treat. And for you guys watching, do yourselves a favour, get on to Alakazam Magic for Mick's Academy, or track him down online, not in a stalkery kind of way, and ask him whatever questions you need to help you on your way with your performance goals. Until that time, make sure you're checking out the description links below for all the free stuff. And if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, do it now. You get to make two beautiful men, according to Liam. Very happy indeed by doing so.
Very.
We'll see you next time. Okay, guys? Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.